Actually, now whilst I'm here, we haven't talked about this before. This VB tab function is simply like pressing a tab on your keyboard. And I put in a couple of tabs here in our output just to make it formatted a little bit better. And that'll make it easier to read. Alright, well let's go and run our script here. So we'll go to the command prompt and we'll run registry.vbs. And our script simply returned the values of whatever was inside the Windows registry for our default domain name, host name, and default username. Okay, well we've just seen how easy it is to read from the Windows registry, but of course we could also write and delete items from there as well. So we'll go back to our script editor. Now here in this example, it's much the same as the last one, although it's a little shorter this time, because this time I'm not dealing with 3 items like I did before. What this script is going to do is simply create a new registry entry and then populate it with a value. Okay, so we've declared our variables up the top here as always, and next we've set a literal for our str new entry to be equal to WinStructorTest. Now as before, we've set the path to the registry where we want our new entry to be added. Again, we've created the interface to the WshShell, and finally we're going to use the regWrite function to write out both the path to where we want our entry in the registry, which is going to be HK local machine, system, current control set, services, TCP/IP, parameters, followed by our new entry, which of course is going to be set to WinStructorTest, and then we're going to give it this value of text here. Alright, well let's go and run this script. We'll go to our command prompt and we'll run registry2.vbs. Okay, and it's done. So I'm going to pop over here to my registry editor, and I've already got it sitting here at the right path, so if I simply hit F5 and that'll refresh our editor, you can see our new item right here with the text that we supplied. Now by the way, if you do want to enter in a different type of data here, such as a D-word value or something, you can do that as well. So if we go back to our scripting program here, all we need to do is simply change the last part of our entry, and I'll just get rid of this text here and we'll enter in a value. We'll say 99 followed by the keyword of reg dword, and of course we'll need to put that in quotes, so we'll save that. We'll go back to our command prompt, we'll rerun our script, and we'll go back to our registry editor and refresh again. Now you can see here that our entry has now changed. Alright, well let's use VBScript to delete this new registry item that we just added. So our next script over here, which is registry3, is really just as simple as the last one, as only the bottom line here has changed. So here we're going to be using the regDelete function to simply remove the entry altogether. So we've passed it both the path to where our entry in the registry is, which of course is this path here, followed by our new entry, which of course is set to WinStructorTest, and that's it. Okay, so let's go and run it. So we'll run registry3.vbs. Okay, it's run, so we'll go back to our registry editor. Again, we'll hit F5. And there you can see our new item has just been deleted. Now the next thing I want to briefly touch on is how to use VBScript to log events to the event log. And it's really easy. So we'll go back to our scripting editor. I've got a new script here, registry4, which is simply the same as the last one we looked at, but we've simply added in a couple of additional lines at the bottom. Now the first line here is simply going to read in the value of our strings, which is hostname and new entry, which we already know from the last few scripts, point to the registry paths that we've declared at the top of our script here. Now the line that actually writes to the event log is simply this one here, which we've used the log event function with a numeric value of 0, which means a successful event, but we could have also used a value of 1 for an error, 2 for a warning, 4 for an informational event, 8 for audit success, and 16 for audit failure. And finally, in this event log message, we're simply going to populate our message with the location that we just checked in the registry, which will be this path up here. Okay, so let's go and run this one. We'll go back to the command prompt. We're going to run registry4, not 34.vbs. Okay, it's done. So what we'll do now is we'll click on Start. We'll go to Administrative Tools and then the Event Viewer. And finally, we'll go to the Application Log. And at the top here on the right should be our new message. Okay, so we'll launch this message here. And there you have it. There's our new entry written into the Windows event log by our script. In fact, let's just quickly go back to our script for a second. And we'll change the log value down the bottom here from 0 to 1. And that'll indicate an error just for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to save that. We'll go back to the command prompt. We'll rerun our script here. And we'll go back to the event viewer and hit refresh. And there you can see our new event, which has been logged as an error. So as you can see, it was really only a single line of code that let us write these entries here into the event log. So it's a rather simple process, logging stuff to the Windows event log. Alright, well let's go and move on and take a look at some of the other functions we can use with the WshShell object. So I'm just going to go and open up another script that we have here. Now in this script, we've got 3 functions that we haven't yet seen, and each of these can have valid uses later on when you start designing your own scripts. Okay, now this script here, all it's going to do is simply open up the Windows Calculator application. It's going to add a couple of numbers together and find out the answer. It's pretty simple stuff, but the process of how we can get there can be important to know later on. Alright, well the first thing we've done here is to create the interface to the WshShell like we've done in our other scripts, and then we've used the run method to launch an application, which in this case is simply the Windows Calculator. Now, since the Windows Calculator is a Windows system application, we haven't had to specify a full path to it, so if it's a third-party application, you may need to supply the full path. Okay, on the next line we've used something else we haven't seen before, and that's sleep. Sleep simply tells our script to wait, or go to sleep if you like, for a specified period of time. Now in my case, I've set this to be 100 milliseconds before continuing. So why would I want my script to wait? Don't we want it to run as fast as possible? Well, of course we do, but there will be circumstances where you want your script to slow down, and this will be one of them. You see, sometimes, such as in our case here, a script can run faster than the program it's controlling. Whenever you launch an application, even one as small as the Windows Calculator, it will take at least some time to find and execute it before it's ready to be used. So if we don't use sleep to pause our script, you'll find that the script will go off ahead and start executing the next lines of code before our application is ready to receive them. So that's why sleep can be useful. Okay, so we're going to sleep for 100 milliseconds, and then we'll use app activate to select the Windows Calculator to make sure it's the active window. Why? For similar reasons as to why we use sleep. In an operating system like Windows, you might have several applications open at once, and our script assumes that the Windows Calculator is open at this point and ready to be used. Now, if it's not the active application, then the rest of our script's commands will be sent to whatever is the active window. And let me warn you ahead of time, depending on what's open at the time, you just might find yourself overriding something you shouldn't have, and that's not going to make you very popular, and it's not a particularly good way of demonstrating your new scripting skills. Now, and also note that calculator must be the same name of the actual application's title bar. So if you have 2 copies of the same application open, again, you may have problems with the script picking up the correct one.